vote, gal. Follow the white line down the road, and we go jam, gal. Follow the alliance down the road, follow the white line.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Silveria Jacobs, your host for the National Alliance television program, where we bring you up-to-date information on our candidates, our position, our platform, and hope to convince you to vote for us, the National Alliance, in this year's election. Give us 4 so we can give you more.
Follow the white line down the road, and to the polls, gal. Follow the alliance down the road, and we go vote, gal. Follow the white line down the road, and we go jam, gal.
Today's guest on the National Alliance program is a brand new candidate. I think it will be a great surprise to many. Mr. Henry Soloman, welcome to the program and welcome to the National Alliance.
Thank you, Silveria, and well, I'd like to say first a great welcome to how you all have received me then as a candidate for the National Alliance in this upcoming election. This came after a lot of agonizing, and so for those out there who know me and know I've been around in the politics for over 30 years now.
Wow.
I've been around and I've looked at our country and I've looked at how it's developed, and everyone knows when they meet me on the street, they bring their complaints, and I will approach the people in government and I will explain them what is out there and how the people feel and whatnot. For me to reach the stage where I feel definitely that this country needs to change its direction of government is because that's it. I believe that people have made a very good choice in the last election. However, they didn't complete their goal. By giving National Alliance the largest party during that election was very clear to me.
What the people wanted.
The people wants a change in this country. And I've been speaking about it. I've been looking at the ills in the country, and I've been speaking with people on the streets of all walks of life. It's not surprising to me that the National Alliance came that close. And I've been saying it even while the government was in government, as to if you don't get your act together, the National Alliance will win the election the next time. And I'm here to make sure that that happens. The National...
Before you go further, Henry, you're talking in parables for some people. I'm going to just put it out there. People are hearing you. Those who don't know
Correct.
Where you come from.
Okay.
And where you've been for 30 years.
Yes.
I think they need to know. We're not here to bash any party,
no.
but to clarify what you're saying.
Exactly.
It has to be clearly stated to the people of St. Martin. Henry Soloman is...
I've came from the house that Claudine Clem built, the Democratic Party.
Okay.
And I've looked at that party actually disintegrate into what it is today, and now they're building something else. Everyone knows I was a person that was a very, very strong person when it comes to what I believe the party at that time was doing, because the views of the old man and then was the small man is always come first. I've looked at that ideology change, and when that changed and I kept seeing it's moving away from the people and more into the development, and where the development only benefits the few, while the social development of the country is stagnating and going back. I say, no, this cannot continue. If I've seen too many countries in the world that I've been to, as well as I looked on the news and looked at what happens when for that kind of a recipe. If you create that kind of country, you're setting up yourself for your own self-destruction. And I can't believe that we have people who I looked up to and believe and trusted that they will want to continue on this road. So for me, the road is exactly what the people have chosen during the last election. The National Alliance, as many know, they haven't been in government ever for 4 years. But every time the National Alliance got in, we've seen what they have done. And when you compare what the National Alliance has done over that short period of time, you have to say, could you imagine
given 4 years?
Given 4 years, what they will accomplish. And this is why I've always been this outspoken about what I believe is good for the people and our country. Anytime any political party is doing what's right by our people, they will see they can get my support. Because my only interest is what's there for our people. What are you doing for the people of St. Martin? What are you doing to our country? And it's with that in mind where I can say, honestly, I feel at home right now, because I feel I'm with a group of people who's only speaking about the people of St. Martin, understanding the issues, the burning issues that are affecting them on a daily basis. And whenever they got into government, they have, on a persistent basis, act according to the issues that they have known that the people have been discussing to them. I'm not going to hear and criticize any other political party for what they've done and what they haven't done. I'm saying if they haven't woken up and seen that we need to change the direction where our country is going, then yes, then I believe they're going to eventually become dinosaurs, because the people are very clear and they're much more politically more knowledgeable today. And I was looking forward when we move into this new system, 10-10-10, we are country, and I was looking forward to expect there was going to be a difference. And what I got is 3 failed cabinets. I've got all kind of innuendos and whatnot, and who's trying to do what and who, and we know the whole stories behind all of these things. We want to leave that to the past. We have to look forward, as the National Alliance is doing. We're looking forward to the future of our country. I can go on to when we had the issues with when it came down to the last government and with the so-called Mexican standoff. Now, a lot of people would like to hold William and say, oh, you see, he was the one who was guilty of something. No, the National Alliance wasn't in government, nor was the National Alliance in control of Parliament. If the National Alliance was in control of Parliament, and they did not deal with the electoral laws, that would have caused the crisis that they were speaking about.
Exactly.
Then yes, I would have been one to say, but you were there. You could have done what
Something
you had to
better.
do then.
Correct.
To make sure, should we fall into a situation like this, that the laws was already put in place, they were signed off and everything, and we could have gone our merry way. But because the National Alliance was not in government, was not in control of Parliament, I cannot blame them. So again, who do you look to and say, well, you have failed me? I have to look at those who were there.
And today again, we hear that the electoral laws will still not be ready in time for even this election. And that actually saddens me, with 4 years to prepare for it, that this is not done. And that the people also look at actions that have happened over the past 4 years and do not realize which party has been in government consistently for 4 years, that don't have the excuse that the portfolio switched or changed, and cannot come out and say specifically what responsibilities they had within their portfolio and give concrete reasons for why that is not complete. Because the portfolios where the National Alliance and the UP was in and out, you can have argumentation as to who did what and who didn't do
Correct.
what. But as it pertains to general affairs, health, labor, and social welfare, there can be no argument as to what should have been properly handled within 4 years.
That's exactly.
And I think that's what
that's
you're
my
probably
sentiment.
trying to get at, because everything
That's
to do
my
with
sentiment.
what's happening in the government level is controlled at this time by the Democratic Party, because the Prime Minister is of the Democratic Party.
That's my
And a
sentiment.
lot of people don't get that.
Like I said, trying to talk oneself out of issues and try to bring it up like, oh, this just sprang up all of a sudden, it might, if people don't follow what's going on within our country and within our government, you might get them thinking, well, oh, you see that? But for those who's always active in listening to what goes on in Parliament and so, knows very clear, when we came in, When the government came in, it was very clear we had to deal with so many laws that were on the back. And I'm surprised that it took so long for them to even start to get some of them now really
moving out.
Moving out, and where we can say, okay, those are the laws, organic laws, whatever the laws that he had that he was supposed to finish up, including the electoral laws. And I will be very disappointed if the electoral laws is not finished, and therefore they say, well, oh, we cannot carry it out as prescribed in those laws because of it's not finished. That will be a big disappointment to me, because that means we can look out for the same nonsense that we had in the last election.
In 4 years. Yeah. In case you've just joined us, our esteemed guest this evening is none other than Mr. Henry Solomons. Mr. Henry Solomons, one of our new candidates on the National Alliance slate. I know that the people of St. Martin have been sitting back and wondering who's coming on. And it's wonderful for us to be able to say that someone who was a staunch supporter of another party has seen it fit, because of the ideals and the morals and the driven perseverance of this party, has seen it fit to join us. Go to our Facebook page, the National Alliance. Read our manifesto as it comes online daily. You could probably pull up the new areas that we have put out there for the general public to read and learn what we stand for as a party. We are not going to insult the people of St. Martin. Of course, we have incorporated what you want. And if you don't like what you have there, give us that feedback, and we, the National Alliance, as always, put St. Martin first. We also have a website, the naparty.sx, www.naparty.sx. Go there, like that page as well. Join us so that we can have more input from you, the people, in order to reach good solutions for the people of St. Martin. I'd like to go back to our guest. Now, you've clearly stated why you joined the National Alliance. You've clearly stated that you want to contribute to that growth that you see, that road that the National Alliance would like to take St. Martin, where the developments on business levels or building the big projects, etc., that puts money in the pockets of some, and not seeing the correlation, the investment within our social services. And this is something I don't think the people of St. Martin realize, that even the former Queen of the Netherlands, Beatrix, has tapped us very strongly on our fingers over the past 20 years on this issue, because back in those days, Dutch development funds was constantly shuffled via the Netherlands Antilles to St. Martin. And the problem with St. Martin is we never would pick that money up.
And do what we have
It wasn't that the money wasn't available. And now the possibilities, a lot was done now prior to 2010, thanks to William Marlin and many others from the National Alliance. I won't leave you out. But the projects are now visible. New schools, a school for tertiary education and providing professional training for our people. We have sports facilities that are being upgraded. We have a lot that is being done. We need to build our social services, and that looks to me like it is what you would like to focus on. So I would like to ask you now, what is one of the things that you personally will be striving to improve on St. Martin?
Well, first of all, when we refer to the social development of St. Martin, we're looking at all areas of social development: healthcare, education, environment, and whatnot. Justice, and all of the areas that is affected by this. For instance, I'll give you a good example. I speak with many what we would call the regular working force. And what I find to be the issues with them, why is it that we do not pay our people on time? These people have commitments also. They have to pay their rents, they have to feed their kids, they have to do all these things. And they will complain, oh, they work so long and they haven't received up to now their wages. We have a labor minister. He knows the law. He knows exactly whether if you work monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, how it's supposed to be. And just one word from him can clear this whole situation up in our society, rather than putting this stress on the single parents and or even, you know, full families, you know, where the father goes out and work, whether construction or what. And when it comes time now for them to get their monies to pay their bills, they're confronted with, you know, bosses,
delays,
you know, employers not paying on time. But if they miss a day,
it's gone.
It's going to be deducted out of it. So you see, on the one hand, it's that is something I hear too often on the streets, and I keep telling myself, we need to, as when we get into government, we need to deal with these kind of social issues. There's many more issues that I would like to tackle, especially in the justice area. I mean, I just came back from overseas, and to hear that, I've been speaking about this for so long regarding the crime situation on the island, and to hear that now we're robbing banks in our country, it tells me really we're on that road where we can become what we most dread. So for me, I will say there's a lot of energy has to be focused on the areas of social development, starting with the education, because that's where it starts from, and all the way down to your environment, your health. Because, for instance, we talked about the health issues on this island and what we're doing for the seniors and whatnot. And so one of the things that has been also bothering me myself, and we had it, one of our supporters during the meeting spoke about this, regarding how many of our people are just dropping down from heart attack. And I honestly believe that we have to look into what is the common denominator in all these cases, because we all know what triggers these things. But we have to look at our environment. We have to look at, is it something from our environment? Is it something from our the health? Is it how we eat? Is it whatever? We have to do a real good analysis on this and then be able to give feedback to your public, because it is alarming. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, I don't know how many deaths we had directly related to heart attacks. And I believe if I could go back for the last 5 years, it's been increasing. If you look at it, it's on a rise. So yes, that has to be looked into by our health people and really come up with a thing to gather enough information so we can educate our public if it's education, or if it's something that is really going on that we need to know, that then they can take steps to correct, then please. Because this is something that is, in no society will people leave, people, just
continue to die without looking for solutions.
And when you look at it, it's young people. I mean, what happened to the St. Martin? Now, we grow, we have a lot of people and so, but what happened to us in the sense that before we live way much longer. Now, like I said, if it's just a matter of what we're eating, that can be determined. Is it the stress level that the country itself has? We need to know that. And then, because if you look at what the French did, that's why they gave themselves that long break for lunch, and people goes home to sleep. In many countries, they have that to regenerate themselves and all that, and then come back to work. We have to look, if that's the issue with us, we have to also look at that and see what we can do for our people. And so
you really sound like you have thought long and hard about this issue. I know we have an ARBO policy. I don't know the English translation of that, but a health at work policy.
Exactly.
which should be, I think we need to promote and publicize, because it was only during a course that I was doing, a management course, where the authority on that subject from the labor office came and explained what rights you have as a worker. And I think public awareness of these rights would be priority one with the National Alliance, so that, and I think on a lot of areas, I believe communication with the public is one of our biggest problems as from government. Many services exist which the public knows nothing about. And it is sad. It is very, very sad that people can stay at home sick, stay at home without employment, stay at home and suffer in silence, while there are actually services out there that can assist them. And what I think we can do and collaborate with as National Alliance is to find ways to not only alleviate those problems, but find ways to eliminate them, or if you're in that cycle, that it's for a short time.
Exactly.
Make it a revolving door.
Exactly.
Make it a revolving door. We had our young dynamic Chris Emmanuel talking about employing youth and then
Exactly.
affording them education possibilities to elevate themselves. And I think this is what we need to do in many, 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 many areas.
Correct.
So listening to you, Henry, and the people of St. Martin, I'm hoping that you've listened keenly to Mr. Solomons. He definitely fits the profile of a National Alliance candidate. You have the people at
Thank you.
heart. We are very, very happy to have you, and we welcome anyone who is willing to work, put your shoulder under the engine of the National Alliance so that we can execute for 4 years. Give us 4 and we will give you more. Visit us on Facebook at the National Alliance, also www.naparty.sx. Also, like us, send your comments or questions via email at feelfreetoaskna@gmail.com, and we will gladly answer your questions right here on this program, as well as on our Facebook page and website when it is fully up and running. Henry, we've come down to the last part of the program, and I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for joining us in this fight. We are encouraged because there was a lot of hoopla about who was leaving our party. Not enough coming from them as to their real reasons, and
Exactly.
I think it behooves the media to do that.
Exactly.
And you have clearly stated here today why you left your party
Exactly.
and joined this one.
Exactly.
And many more have and will, because the National Alliance is the party of the people. It has proven it in 2010, and we just need those who have been out there and not voting to realize that you make the difference. All the new and young voters, you can make even a bigger difference. If you want a change, none of the other large parties can give it to you because they have been part of the problem for too long. We have not had 4 years, and we deserve 4 years. So with that, I'm going to give you the final words. Speak directly to the camera. Tell them why they should support you and in turn the National Alliance in August 2014.
Well, first of all, as you all know, I'm a person for the people. Me, primarily, the number one thing should be the people. Are we able, what we're doing, is it for our people? Are we helping our people develop? Are we helping our country to develop? Once those things are solved, we can move on. When we do not move past the issues that are directly related to the people, I see only disasters going to come out of our country. I only can speak directly what I feel and what I see, and I will always try to bring those who come into contact with me and point out why we need to make changes. Maybe they don't see it now. A lot of people see they getting all flight, up for this, the glitter thing and who ain't ready and who what. This is not about that. This was never about who's ready and what. The bottom line is who is taking care of our people. And you have to ask yourself and to answer that question to yourself. We cannot answer that for you. We can show you what we have done. We can show you what the National Alliance has done. I have seen it myself. I have talked to those who I was with, and I see the interest there was not like the interest of the National Alliance. The National Alliance is there for the people. They want to make sure that the development of the people of this country takes place. And they've shown that in the short times that they have been into government. With schools, with infrastructure, with healthcare issues, and many more other things that they have done during their short time in government. I'm saying it's time to leave the National Alliance, run this country for 4 years. Give us 4 years, and then you can judge. Is this group of people capable of running this country or not? But there's been always a certain effort, which we've seen over the last election, to keep the National Alliance out. They were the largest party, and yet they were left out. And unfortunately, there's others who, for their own reasons, thought, well, the grass is greener on this side, so let me join with whoever. I can tell you, I'm not that type of person. I don't run looking for greenery. I believe because the long run it's going to be our people. When our people fall short, when we cannot do the things that we're supposed to do for our people, eventually we're going to have worse calamities than what we have now. Our crime rate is going to increase. Eventually, the one thing that everyone believes in, which is our tourist market, that's going to collapse because the crime is going to take that away from us. I'm not trying here to be frighten people, but we need to deal with these issues. The country is not moving in the right direction. We need the National Alliance to come in and save the day.
Thank you so much, Henry. I am quite moved by your statements. This has been a very, very informative program of the National Alliance. We look forward to even more programs to bring to you, the people of St. Martin. Stay tuned every Monday right here on cable TV as we bring you the information that tells you why you should choose the National Alliance. Stay tuned every week. I'm Silveria Jacobs. Good evening.
To the polls, girl, follow the alliance down the road, and we go forward, girl, follow the white line down the road, and we go jam.